Hello and welcome to another edition of Health Elevation Corner with me, your girl, Jenni Russell. I do hope, like me, that this finds you blessed and highly favored, a magnet for miracles, the solution to someone's problem, and the answer to someone's prayer. How's your week been? I do hope you found last week really useful. And sticking on diet, I thought we'd stay with food because it is an emotive subject. It is one that actually has a massive dividing camp. And so therefore, what I'd like to be able to do is maybe explore it a little bit more so we can think about ways in which we can improve our health and our immunity. Now, one of the things that we can do is actually do a 4-day rotation diet. And the reason why we look at 4-day rotation diets is because if we have a compromised immune system or we have food sensitivities, then actually eating the same food over and over and over again will actually exacerbate that problem. The issue with that is, what is the offending food or food group? If you keep eating the same foods over and over again, how will you actually be able to find that out? Now, for me, I'm a lover of avocado. Avocado. If avocado was a man, I would marry it. I really would. But it's a food I love. Now, if I keep eating it every single day, I'm not going to love it again. Or my insides may become intolerant to it. Also, if I was a person who had certain allergies and certain issues with my immune system or my digestive system and histamine issues in terms of inflammation, then avocado would definitely be an offending food for me, as would chicken. Now you know already. We love chicken. Love chicken, yeah? You love chicken. Right. Well, if you have issues with histamine and you need to eat on an anti-histamine diet, for example, then chicken and avocado, two beautiful things, are not your friends, because they would actually create more inflammation than you would actually want in your system. Did you know that? So, by eating a 4-day rotation diet, rotating our foods in a healthy body, food can take up to 55 hours to transit through the body. So if you give your body 72 hours, it allows any offending food to transit through the system, leave the system, and it makes it much easier for you to be able to pinpoint what foods your body's really not happy with. Just because it's healthy doesn't mean it's healthy for you. This is the reason why we do metabolic typing, primal patterns. We look to try and find out what foods or food groups are good for people. And the thing is, you can actually eat yourself into a primal pattern. So if you answer the questionnaires, you prefer carbs, you prefer this, it's because it's what you've eaten yourself into. So what you have to do then is actually you eat in that way 70% carbohydrates, not potatoes, rice, pasta. Vegetables are carbohydrates. Let's put that out in the open first and foremost. People say I have carbohydrates and vegetables. Vegetables are carbohydrates. And it just depends on which vegetable you choose as to the level of starch that's within that vegetable. Obviously, a potato is a vegetable, as you know, but people call them carbohydrates and classify that as a carbohydrate. So what you want to know is, yes, it is a carbohydrate, but then so is broccoli, so is spinach, so is asparagus, so is fine green beans, so are onions and garlic. They're carbohydrates. So what you need to know is what level of conversion rate to sugar, the starch in the vegetable, are you putting on your plate, and thus are you loading your system with, and how is it responding within the body? So you then fine tune your diet, because again, just because you can eat red meat, is lamb okay but not veal? Is beef okay but not pork? Trenton. It depends. So it depends really on which, half Jamaican, Trenton, yeah? Depends really on which way you look at it, right? So what we try to do is we get people to understand the importance of rotating the food every 4 days to actually be able to know what foods are offending, what foods are creating maybe blockages, stopping you from being able to transit very well and get rid of the waste. You know, what foods bloat you, what foods create gas, those kind of things. You know, what foods make you feel really tired. You know, if you eat a food and then as soon as you're eating it, you want to sleep. Is it you've had too much fat? Is it the quality of the fat? If you had too much protein? And by the way, you do need to recognize that you need to have protein and fats together, because those two together, the fats allow you to assimilate the protein better, to break it down, and the two things together slow down the rate at which the carbohydrate turns to sugar. So going on a fat-free diet is really not a good look for anybody. It's not a good look for no one. So we rotate the bodies, right? Then also we rotate the food, because that will actually allow the immune system to not be overworked, and will give you a much healthier looking and better functioning body. The other thing you need to recognize as well is that because the hormonal system, I'm using some of my notes as well, right, is governed by the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, then it's really influenced heavily by the rise and fall of the sun, which I've said to you before in our videos. And also this makes a big difference as to the times you're eating, the way in which you're eating, what organ is being overloaded. Remember, if you're having your biggest meal at night and then you're just watching the TV and splurging, but you're taking in all those foods that are heavy, and especially if they're heavy processed foods, and you haven't got the right balance of vegetables that actually have been grown in the ground, which are mineral rich vegetables, then the body's not getting the nutrients it needs. Remember, we're feeding the body at the cellular level, so we need to make sure that we're giving the body the nutrients it needs, but we also need to give the organs the rest they need at the right time, so that they can actually be able to replenish, restore, rebuild, refresh. So there is a whole science behind how the body works, and the more we understand that science, the better it is for us. And as I said, understanding your metabolic type, your cellular machinery, your biomechanical makeup. Yes, it would be argued we're more alike than we are not alike, but then the same argument is that one food actually has a negative effect on one person, the same food has a positive effect on another person, and the same food has no effect on the third person. Biochemical individuality plays its part. So just because I can eat avocado and chicken, I don't have those histamine or inflammations or cellular stresses that somebody else has. And so I can eat those foods and they don't worry me. Someone else can eat them who suffer from candida and those fungal infections, and they eat those foods and it will exacerbate candida. So it's really, really quite, it's quite loaded. If you've got parasite and yeast infections, which, you do questionnaires and you find out what you have, then that will make an explanation. You can eat, certain foods and suddenly you just can't empty your bowels, and you're just blocked and you're bloated and you're full of gas and you're blowing trumpets from both ends, which is obviously not pleasant. But, look at the foods you're eating, and look at how you're eating. Look at how you're eating. Remember I said to you about chewing our water and drinking our food, and also the environment in which you're eating in. Are you sitting down and eating your food in front of the TV? Because if you are, what will happen is the oxygen that is in the digestive system, in the stomach, ready to digest your food, will be diverted up to your eyes, because your eyes have priority on the totem pole, on the hierarchy. So the eyes need the oxygen to be able to see the screen. And so you're taking the oxygen away from the digestive system. If you're there and as you're eating your food, you're eating your food and you're you're swallowing air, that's a problem. You're sitting down, you're eating and you're drinking loads of water. You're diluting the digestive enzymes in the stomach. So instead of it being very, very acidic in there, so it's easy to break the food down, you're now drowning it. And what happens, it takes longer then to digest, and it's just swashing around in the stomach. Again, it's bloating you, it's causing problems. So there's so much to understanding that, the science of food, right? It's there, it looks good, it can taste good. But what phalic response are you building? Are you drinking your water half an hour before you eat, so that you create the enzymes inside the mouth so that it's ready to masticate the food and turn it to liquid so it can go into the stomach, where it's very acidic and it can be broken down easily. If you get that, if it goes back up the esophagus and it's repeating on you, you're getting the heartburn. The reason why it's burning is because when it gets into the stomach, the acid is like 1.9. It's so acidic. But if that comes back up, which it's not supposed to, and come back up the trap, That's what that's burning. That's the acid that's burning you there. So look at the environment in which you're eating your food in. Are you sitting down? Don't eat the food and get nervous, and don't sit at the table and have an argument whilst you're eating, because all of those things will affect your breathing, affect how you eat, therefore affect your digestion, affect what the body can extract from the food, or how long it will transit through the body, and how it will show up in your body later on in life in terms of dis-ease and dysfunction. So that's all I want to say for now, but just sort of be mindful of what it is you do. Now, if you have a particular nutritional concern that you want me to deal with, please, info@pelvicfloorsecrets.com. Just send me an email, or just go onto jennirussell.com and drop me a line, or you can do it that way around. And I'm happy to do that. But next week, we're going to look at juicing, smoothies, food. Juicing, smoothies, food. But until then, this is Jenni saying, remember that you are fearfully and wonderfully made. This here, all of this, made well. Just think about what it is you're putting into that wonderful temple of yours. Think about what goes in, what gets extracted, how it comes out. Because Freddie has a certain look. And that certain look, when he's left, lets you know that your body's functioning really, really well. It's not crude. It's actually the truth. The foundation of your health is in your gut, and what you leave inside that basin tells its own story about what's going on inside of you. Until next week, I'm signing off.